Today's notes are on multi-step equations. Equations are two expressions that are equal to each other, like x is equal to 4, or that means 3x is equal to 12, and 3x plus 4 is 16. Multi-step is when it takes multiple steps in order to solve those equations and get the variable isolated by itself. Here's a part A and part B of our first example. Now for these problems, we're going to combine our like terms and then isolate our variable. Let's look at problem A. My like terms are 4x and minus 6x, giving me negative 2x. I bring down the minus 8 and the negative 10. Now that I've combined like terms, I have a two-step equation to solve. I start by adding 8 to the negative 8. That cancels to make 0. And then I add 8 to the other side of my equal sign, leaving me with 2x on the left side of my equal sign and negative 2 on the right side. Now, if I have 2x, that means there's 2 of them. I isolate the variable by dividing, giving me a final answer of x equaling negative 1. So I combined my like terms first, and then I solved the two-step equation, isolating the variable. Let's look at part B. Negative 9 plus 3y plus 4 equals 16. I look at the left side of that equal sign and I can combine my like terms. Now the y's don't have anything to combine with, so I just bring down the 3y. But I have a negative 9 and a positive 4. They combine to give me negative 5. The 16 doesn't get combined with anything because it's all alone on the right side of the equation. My next step is to add 5 to both sides to leave me with the 3y by itself and get rid of that negative 5, and that gives me 21. When I divide to isolate my variable, I get y to equal 7. For my problems in example 1, I combined my like terms and then isolated my variable per usual. There's now this additional step that we kind of saw when we talked about simplifying expressions. We're going to distribute first. Let's look at example A. I distribute the 5 to the x and then a minus 3, giving me 5x minus 15. I bring down what I haven't used yet, plus 15 equals negative 10. Now when I go to combine my like terms, you'll notice that negative 15 and positive 15 already make 0. I don't have to add 15 to both sides because it was already present on the left side. When I bring down the 5x I haven't used, it equals negative 10. When I isolate my variable by dividing, I get x to equal a negative 2. Let's check example B. Again, my first step is going to be to distribute. The negative 2 multiplies by the x to give me negative 2x, and the negative 2 multiplies by the negative 4, giving me a positive 8. I bring down what hasn't been used, the plus 6x and the 16, and keeping the equal sign where it was. Now I can combine my like terms. I have a minus 2x and a plus 6x. That gives me 4x, and I bring down the plus 8, equaling 16. I continue isolating my variable by subtracting 8 on both sides, leaving me with just 4x and 8. I divide by 4, and x is equal to a positive 2. You'll notice that after you do the distributing and combining like terms, you're ending up with those two-step equations that you've already mastered and been practicing. For A, I have 9 minus 2x equals negative 1 plus 3x. You'll notice that my variables are on both sides and my numbers are on both sides. I want my variables to be all on one side of my equation. So I check my variables. Are any of them negatives? Because those are way easier to move. And right here I have a negative variable, that negative 2x. So let's start by getting rid of that negative 2x and adding 2x. When I add 2x there, I'm left with just 9 on the left side. The negative 1 I haven't done anything with, but remember, if I add 2 x's to the left, I also need to add 2 x's to the right. Is that going to combine with the 1 or the 3x? it combined with a 3x because they are like terms, giving me a positive 5x. This is starting to look like equations we're used to. I have I have numbers on one side and a variable on the other. My next step is going to be to add 1 to both sides, leaving me with 10 equaling 5x. And one-step equation left, x is equal to 2. Hopefully you were able to at least follow along, even if you're not quite sure that you're able to do it for yourself. Let's look at b together. You'll notice that there's 5 terms now, 3 on one side, 2 on the other. This means we're actually going to be able to combine like terms first. I have a w and a 7w. Now, a lot of you are thinking, but you also have a 5w, but that's on the other side of the equal sign, so it can't get combined with anything yet because there are no more w's on this side. But the w and 7w make 8 w's and a 3 equaling 5w minus 9. You'll notice I have 2 terms on the left and I have 2 terms on the right. So although it's like kind of weighted well and equal, well, they're all equal, they're equations, I need all of my variables on one side. Is it going to be easier to take 8 w's away and risk getting a negative, or to take 5 w's away and end up with a positive variable? Well, if we take 5 w's away from both sides, that leaves me with 3 positive w's, a positive 3, and a negative 9, leaving us with a two-step equation we're well practiced in solving. I then am going to subtract 3 from both sides, and 3w is equal to negative 12. I divide 3 on both sides, and w equals negative 4 for my final answer. Here's one for you to try on your own. Pause the video, try it, and then play and check your answer. Even if you only get halfway through the problem, it'll still tell you what parts you're understanding and where you're getting held up so you can communicate that with your teacher. Step 1, distribute. And I'm only distributing here because that's the only number I have sitting outside the parentheses. 12x plus 3, and I bring down everything else. Now I can combine my like terms. I have 12x's and a positive x, giving me 13x's. And I bring down all the stuff that I haven't used, the plus 3, the 12x, and the plus 8. Now, I have x's on both sides of the equation. I have 13x's on this side and 12x's on the other. Which one is going to be easier to subtract? Well, it's easier to subtract 12 because I have 12 x's on the left side to take away from, so I'm not going to end up with a negative variable, leaving me with a two-step equation. I have 1x plus 3 equals 8, so if I subtract 3 on both sides, 1x is equal to 5, or my final answer, x equals 5.